Hey guys, I'm Chris Wolfe. I'm Kimberly's older brother, and I'm here to talk about what I do for a living. I'm a TV reporter in Los Angeles, California. I've been doing this for 7 years now here in Los Angeles, and truthfully, I feel blessed. I have a great time doing it. I love what I do. No 2 days are alike, every day is different. They say variety is the spice of life, and I can honestly say my job offers variety like no other, really. For example, I recently was able to cover the Oscars on that Oscar Sunday. I was in a tux on the red carpet, and then the next day, I was up in the mountains in a place called Big Bear, a ski resort, in about 10 inches of snow covering a snowstorm the very next day in sometimes blizzard-like conditions. Full snow gear, ski hat, gloves, you name it. Oscars one day, snowstorm the next. You can't beat it. It's great. It's fun. Let me briefly talk about how I started out. When I was a little kid, about 12 or 13 years old, I started watching 2020 and 60 Minutes, the news magazine shows, and I just was fascinated. I was mesmerized. I was like, this is real life. This is real, and it's dramatic, and it's entertaining, and it's educational, and I love it. And to this day, I think TV news is the best kind of reality TV there is. And I'm so glad that I'm in that industry. And I knew from a young age what I wanted to do. So I immediately, well, not immediately, but I started setting my sights on a career in broadcast journalism. So when I got to college at Boston University, in a very prestigious college of communication, I immediately enrolled in the broadcast journalism program. It entailed a lot of writing courses, strong writing courses, very, very stringent writing courses. You had to be a good writer and a good print journalist before you could move on to the broadcast aspect. And they're very different. Print journalism, writing for newspapers or magazines, is much more detailed. It's long form. You're writing very long articles. You're getting into some nitty-gritty details that you simply can't do in TV. TV is very brief, it's concise, it's short, it's quick. Typically a package, a news story, lasts a minute and 30 seconds. Sometimes 2 minutes, but on average I'd say about a minute and 30 seconds. That's pretty quick. So you've got a lot of information to cram into a short amount of time, and you have to do the absolute best job you can picking the most interesting, compelling moments of an entire day's worth of news gathering. Let's see, let me think of what I can illustrate, for example. Okay, we had a murder today at a vitamin and herbal shop southeast of downtown Los Angeles. Apparently a female employee was behind the register. At least one, maybe two or more intruders came into the store. They tied her up in a back room, gagged her, and then stole from the cash register and ended up killing her. And it was senseless because they obviously didn't need to kill her. Once they incapacitated her by tying her to a chair in the back room, they could easily have grabbed the cash and left, but they apparently killed her. Looks like they strangled her to death and then left. And this was in a very busy neighborhood. It was located in a busy intersection. It was only about 6 o'clock at night, still light out. People are walking, coming home. The front door of the store was open, and they were so brazen they did this to her. Well, there are a lot of different details. There are a lot of pictures we can gather, a lot of interviews we can get from neighbors and witnesses and police. There are a lot of elements to any given news story, like there was with this one. So then it's my job to get the most compelling parts, be it pictures or interviews or snippets of interviews, what we call sound bites, get all of the most compelling information, the most interesting pieces of this story and to put them together in one concise minute-and-a-half news package that's informative, educational, interesting, and compelling to the viewer. And that's what I do typically on any given day. I get my assignment. I rarely know what I'm doing before I get to the TV station. The bosses, what are known as assignment managers, sometimes a producer or an executive producer or even a news director who's the head of the whole newsroom, will give me an assignment, and then I'm paired off with a photographer, editor. We get into one of those big live news trucks and we head out to the scene of the story, whether it's a crime or a rally or the red carpet at the Oscars, at the Golden Globes, or the Emmys, and we put our story together, and then we have to make sure to meet deadline for when the show is running, when we appear within the show. You don't want to miss deadline. It can be pretty ugly, and it can cause a domino effect and mess up the entire show. So everyone is responsible to get their stories done in a timely fashion, to meet deadline, and to be ready and go live in front of the camera when it's your time during the newscast, no matter what time of day it is. That's exciting. It can be very stressful, but it's also an adrenaline rush working on deadline, and it keeps the day interesting and never dull and boring. And that's what I love about this job. I love people. I love interacting with people. I love talking with people. I really enjoy interviewing people, learning about their stories, their experiences, and being a reporter offers me all of that and then some. If you are curious, if you're comfortable in front of the camera, if you have a good speaking voice, that's very important in broadcast journalism. You have to have a good speaking voice, and you have to be able to tell a great story. We say in the news business, you have to be a great storyteller first, and then a good reporter, a good journalist. You have to know the basics, the legalities, the ethics, the appropriateness of what you're doing, but you have to be a great storyteller. Anyone can go out there and get who, why, what, where, who, why, what, where, when, how, all of the W's, and you can spew facts, and you can be very robotic and very boring with it. Or you can be a great storyteller and learn how to put something together in a very interesting fashion that's going to lock in the viewer. I had a great professor in college at Boston University who said, any great news story is like a mini movie, a mini TV show. It has to have a strong beginning, middle, and end. And it's also like a piece of music. It has to flow. It has to have some true energetic, in-your-face moments, and then it has to have some areas where you kind of pull back a little, soften it up, and then maybe you juice the audience again. But it has to be seamless. It has to be flowing. There can't be any parts that really are jolting to the viewer or unsettling or jarring in a bad sense. It has to be seamless. It has to move. It has to flow. And you have a lot of different layers. You have interviews. You have what we call my voice track, the parts where I'm speaking over pictures. You have what we call nat sound breaks. For example, if an ambulance with the siren blaring is speeding by the scene of a crime, you want to let that part breathe. You want to allow the ambulance to roll by with that siren blaring, and you want the viewer to hear nothing else but that siren. So I wouldn't be talking over that. An interview subject wouldn't be talking over that. That's what we call a nat sound break, where you just let something like a siren roll, and that's it. Then you let it fade evenly, gradually, into maybe my voice coming up saying the victim was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, and the family was there waiting for him or her, something like that. You have to be prepared to start out in a very small market. in a small city, making very little money and working very hard. And that's what I did. I started out in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina 20 years ago, worked my way up to a place called Fort Myers, Florida on the Gulf Coast. And after that, after about 5 or 6 years in the business, I had my big break in a major city, the city of Atlanta, which at the time I got there in 1997 was market 10. The two biggest cities in the country, New York and LA, are also the number 1 and 2 TV markets in the country. And I have been blessed to now work in Los Angeles, number 2, the second largest market in the nation. And it's a great area because a lot of our what we would consider local news really isn't just local, it's national and international. It can involve world leaders, it can involve celebrities, movers and shakers. It can involve so much, and I feel blessed and honored to be a part of this on any given day. If you have what it takes, if you have perseverance, if you have determination and drive, and if you have compassion and passion for what you do, passion for telling stories, passion for interviewing people, getting yourself into all kinds of different situations and areas and locales and environments every single day, then I think TV journalism, TV news, broadcast journalism might be the career for you. Good luck, take care, God bless, and thank you for this opportunity to share my story with you. Goodbye.